everybody, welcome to this next edition of Lazz Logs here. You already know who this is, your boy Lazz, and yeah, it's been a hot minute, and the only thing I just got to say is my life's just not that exciting. So that's why I don't really have Lazz Logs that often, which kind of sucks, but I mean it's the cold hard truth, blogging kind of makes it easier for me and whatnot, and even with a blog, it's only kind of one topic isk kind of thing. So when it comes to a Lazz Log, I want to talk about more than just one thing, unless if I'm really going to focus on something. So kind of like what I said, nothing too crazy going on. At the time of this recording, it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day for those who still have mothers or a mother figure. Hopefully it's a good time for you guys. And unfortunately, mine has passed away. I know it's over a decade. I want to say 11 years now. She's been gone for 11 years. So, not that Mother's Day hurts me in any kind of way or anything like that, but I still got plenty of mother figures and whatnot, and may my mother rest in peace. But anyways, it ain't getting into a sad story or anything like that. Just kind of noting how things are in my life and whatnot. So, I kind of want to get into iSCSI here. I know I posted something here on the website, including SoFurry, because iSCSI has been around for a long time, and it was only just recently when I decided to finally get into it and start dabbling around with it and whatnot. And I gotta tell you guys, I know I put it in the post, but who knows? Maybe some of you guys are already doing it and whatnot. If you have a home server set up, or you have a good NAS, or hell, who knows, man? Maybe you're connected to a WAN somehow, and hell, if you're able to achieve that, you're better than me, because I know that was something I was trying to do when I was doing Dragon Networks. Very big, ambitious project that never even left paper. Let's just say that. So, anyways, it's fantastic. I got my whole Steam library installed. I bought Killing Floor and Killing Floor 2 yesterday, and had to install and whatnot. So, actually, I just got done playing Killing Floor 2. Just to get the feel. I've never played the game before and whatnot, so get the feel for it. Of course, I'm still a noob. I don't know if I'll ever leave that general ranking and whatnot, but it runs flawlessly, which is shocking. Because remember, keep in mind, I only have 100 base T. So I can't go any faster than like 100 megabits a second over the network. And, these drives are on my server, And, regardless of how far it is or whatever, it's a hard drive running through the network. So, yeah. I just kind of want to put that out there. Like, everything was pretty much a success and whatnot. So the only downside to, which I kind of only wanted to cover it in here instead of, either making any updates or anything for the post that I did, because I don't know. It's kind of weird for how things are around the website and stuff. So, and it's my own doing for this. So when I initially set up my iSCSI drive, for my Steam library and whatnot, I looked at my current library And I'm like, okay, so I just want to have something that's 2 times bigger than that approximately, give or take. Um, so, I only had like 70-ish gigabytes, a little over 70 gigabytes for my Steam library before I even bought Killing Floor 1 and 2. And just the base games too. Nothing, no DLC, none of the other stuff. I want to get. If I really like the game, then I'll buy it. I can tell you, the game is fun. I know I know the games have been out for a long time, but I'm old school. I mean, fuck, man, I'm still playing fucking Death Stranding, and that came out in 2019, and here we are. It's 2024. I mean, I've always been behind the times, but anyways, enough of me rambling. So the thing is that I set up like 150 gigabyte iSCSI drive, and that was great until until I purchased and was getting ready to install Killing Floor 2. So, that was 90 something gigabytes, almost 100 gigs, and, I only have like 60 something gigabytes free of space where, I was like, well, shit, this sucks, and I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. And, at first I looked into, hey, can you adjust the sizes of your iSCSI drive? Excuse me, I'm sorry for coughing, mind you. And the answer is absolutely, you can. You can totally do that. So here's the food for thought for anybody that's going to get into iSCSI. For starters, make sure it's whatever size that you need, because I think you already know what's coming down here. You can absolutely adjust the size, where I was able to readjust my size to 300 gigabytes. Just kind of doubled it. No big deal. So I was able to do that. And, I was able to disconnect the drive from the computer and disconnect it from the server and make all the modifications. That it wasn't even a headache at all to do all this. But the issue is that since I have that set up, and remember, I'm using a Windows-based computer here, Windows just only sees that 150 gigabyte partition I made. Can't even see the rest of it. And the only way to change that is I would have to format that drive. And, I thought about it for a minute because I kind of gave myself one of three options. And let me tell you something. If you ever have to figure anything out in life, here you go, a green dragon giving you advice here. But you know what has always worked for me? Give yourself three options. A minimum of three options. You can always have more than three options, but it's nice to have three options that you can choose from. And you always have your path of least resistance, which I was which I already tried, which that's what I wanted to necessarily do was, okay, can I adjust the drive? And if so, then cool, then I can install whatever, because I didn't realize the game was that big because, I'm special and didn't read any of the descriptions of the game to figure out, oh, well, maybe I should make sure I have a size big enough or whatever. Nah. I was too busy, too focused on, let me just get my library set up and there you go. I'll worry about it later. No big deal. Which it kind of isn't. But anyways. So, obviously I tried that, and yes, I was able to adjust it, but I would have to reformat that drive, so that means everything that I've installed on there, Steam itself, because literally Steam and all of its games is running off of an iSCSI drive. So, has no bearing whatsoever on my system drive. Nothing at all. So, I tried doing that. That failed. My second option was, okay, I will create another one because I can create as many as I want, which isn't a big deal. And then the third option was the radical one, which was, okay, you know, it's only my Steam library. I can re-download it, reinstall it, and do all this stuff where um, I'll just completely delete the volume from the server. Don't care if I lose anything or whatever because, I don't really necessarily have any game progress. I just installed my library and, you know, hands off of it from there. And, did some testing to make sure everything worked and it obviously it worked if you've seen that blog post for the iSCSI. So it just would have been a radical, okay, I'll just start all over again, get it set up as 300 gigabytes, and then just go from there. And then, I'd reinstall Steam, but the thing is, yeah, before I installed my whole library, but I only do that so it's ready to go if I want to play a game. And look, I don't get on Steam that often, you know. Surprise, surprise, I don't. Um, hence the reason why before I had installed an AV machine that had no internet connection. So yeah, so obviously that first one didn't work. And just a little bit of background here, which I haven't noticed anything difference with the size of the total size of the server that's supporting this. So I was able to change it to 300 gigabytes, and then I wasn't able to, obviously from the system, hey, this is a 300 gigabyte drive, and obviously it won't let me do that unless I reformat it, like I stated. So I kind of decided I'll go with the second option. So create another iSCSI drive, which I did. So now I have three hard drives for my computer, and that's not even counting all my other networked connections that I have for the server, all my network storage and whatnot. So the thing is when I did get my second iSCSI drive set up, I decided, okay, you know what? Let's not leave it at 300 gigabytes because I'm only going to use 148 of it. And guess what? When you change it to something higher, it's that, which totally makes sense. But the funny part is kind of like what I put in my post before. It doesn't change. It doesn't necessarily change anything with your total storage size of your server because it's still looking at, hey, how much free space do you have in total? So, which is still pretty interesting. I think there's still probably something that I'm missing, or maybe it just could be with this server that I have. It's just weird, and maybe we'll recompile, or maybe there's some kind of recompile function that I haven't found out or whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. I have plenty of storage space and expandability too. So even if I start running out of space, I can slap more hard drives in that bad boy, and we're back in action. So through and through, the life lesson here for iSCSI is the thing's fantastic. If you're able to do it, I would recommend it for anybody, especially if you're limited on your hard drive space locally, or you just need it. You have to use that local hard drive space for something. Like for me, that's my big issue there is, yes, I can easily install my Steam library of everything and then still have plenty of space to work with, or plenty of free space, but when editing videos, it kills it every time. So, well, not necessarily kill it, but it's taking up a lot of space. And for me to get Steam installed there, and for me to not play it as often, that's why it's like, well, it's a no-brainer. And obviously, if you check out forums and all this other stuff for iSCSI, that's like the big recommended thing for home use besides just doing backups, or if you're doing hobbyist things like a secondary operating system or something you just want to boot to. So yeah, yeah. So just keep that in mind if you ever do look into that. Is make sure you got your hard drive space set up the way it is. You can expand it, and look, maybe it's just Windows too. So if you use like a Linux, a Unix, or like a Mac OS or something like that, it may very well recognize that, hey, the size has changed. Do you want to partition it or something? But for me to reconnect to that same drive again, I would have to reformat it to even see if the whole space is available, which I wouldn't doubt the whole space is. It's just Windows sees it as, okay, look, that was everything that you formatted, because that's what it originally had. So, and kind of makes sense, because usually for hard drives, it's not like, hey, I bought an upgrade for my hard drive. No, that usually means you bought a whole new hard drive. So it's not like you can buy extra platters or microchips and things and add it to your hard drive. It's like, oh, cool. I wanted to add an extra 200 gigabytes to my hard drive, so I just added it to it. That's not how hard drives work. So logically, it makes sense why I kind of ran into this problem. It kind of sucks because, like I said, now I got three not system drives, but now I got 3 hard drives for my computer. Anyway, so I know there was a post just done recently for site updates, and I just kind of want to cover over that a little bit here. I feel like the post is well worded and whatnot, but I just kind of want to get into that. And if you're browsing a site, the Discord server widget, I think is a nice additional add-in, because I'm still trying to get user engagement and whatnot, and kind of like with the posts, and kind of like from what I said and whatnot, it's like, look, man, I know this isn't the best website, and look, it's not that I'm lazy or that I don't care about it. It's like, look, I'm not willing to put so much more effort into a website. I'm not making any money off of it. I'm not planning on trying to get a profit share off this thing or become big or anything like that. It's a nice place where I can just post my content, and it's just a centralized hub for myself and others that like my content, or just like me for who I am, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's a crazy thought. So, the Discord server widget is now available, so now you can stalk me whenever you want, which, it's just as the post said, it totally makes sense. We've had this thing for a while, and, if you've seen any of my other videos, I'm always kind of checking to see if there's anybody online or anything, and I'm pretty sure you might have seen the Discord server widget a couple of times in my videos anyway. So it's there now. It's it's available on all the pages, so you can stalk me and whoever could be on my server at that time. And the same for me as well. At the same time, I brought back the shout box to the page again, because I just don't think anybody's really taking that initiative to even see what's going on with updates. That's why I mostly use the shout box for the site, is just updates. Kind of like with what I'm doing now, I send out a shout on the site indicating, hey, I'm getting ready to record another Lazz Log. It's easier to do that instead of posting a blog, hey, I'm getting ready to stream, hey, I'm getting ready to do this, and whatnot. And look, for the website and for how it works, like, look, there's extra add-ins, there's other things that can be done, but it's not like I'm going to have like a ticker crawl on my website or something else that does whatever. the whole thing too is it's a convenience thing for anybody that visits that can see what's going on and whatnot. And even with the post itself, just as it says, like, look, it's all cross posted to the Telegram channel, the Discord server, and my Blue Sky profile and whatnot. So you know you can join anywhere else and you don't even have to be here, which is completely fine. It totally makes sense. Because I'm the same kind of dragon too. I only have certain accounts in certain places because it's like, well, I only want to make an account for a site that I know I would use again, that I would like to go to often, that I would like to use its features and functions. Then I'll go through that. Because other than that, there's so many different passwords and everything else that you have, and I feel like I probably already said this before. I know that there's some websites where well, you can link your Google account or your Facebook or whatever, and cool, that makes that easier to enjoy the fruits of that site. But not that I'm a huge worrywart or security nerd here, but remember, if somebody hacks your Gmail or if somebody hacks that server or whatever, and they get your hands on that username and profile, well, now whatever you have it linked to, now they have access to all of that. So, it's like I said, it's not even a concern for anything like that. It's just, I like keeping things unique from each site because it just makes sense to do it like that. In my honest opinion, I know the ease and convenience is there, and and don't get me wrong, there's so many different authenticators and two-step verifications and things like that where things do start going down the tubes the wrong way. You'd probably know, so if you've been hacked or something. But hey, look, this stuff happens. We're in a horrible world or whatever and whatnot. So yeah, remember, I still have that. I still got the socials thing up at the top where you can follow me anywhere on the other platforms that I'm on as well. And then I talked about possible improvements, and just like for the post itself. Sorry, needed some water there. I don't know when these are going to happen. These could be year-end things. So, the video quality of the game captures, everything was set to the lowest setting and whatnot, only because, well, when I started doing everything, I had the tablet, and that's what made it bearably worked. And I don't even really want to say bearably worked, but I mean it captured it, but it was something. So I know since I have a dedicated computer that can do everything, and it doesn't matter how much processor and RAM and everything it uses, it's just meant to do game captures. I think I'm going to adjust those settings and things like that. As well as if you watch any of my other videos and stuff that have to do with game captures, every now and then it just the screen blacks out, and that I don't think that has anything to do with the device or the console or whatever, because I can see the recorded game capture happening on the screen while I'm playing the game. And I'm not talking about, well, obviously, duh, because you're playing the game. No, I'm using my TV to play the game, and then I got my AV station computer screen there to control the recording, and nothing weird happens there the whole time. So I don't know if it's an encoding thing or what is going on, but I might be playing around with those settings. It's just an idea. It also doesn't help. I don't get any feedback from the videos. So if nobody cares about it, why am I going to waste my time fixing something? Unless it only bothers me. So that's why that's kind of a even though if you really think about it, it's like, yeah, you should do something about that. But it's like, well, there ain't really an audience. So, whatever. Um, you know, the forums. So, which is a little weird because I do want to say, so the forums kind of almost coincides with everything else I've been noticing with the site. So I don't know if it's a bot. I don't know what the hell's going on because I'm kind of getting some interaction here and there, but borderline non-human interaction. So I wouldn't doubt there's just a bot just, wouldn't say ravaging the site or whatever, but a lot of the stuff, well, I don't want to say a lot, but there's a few posts that I have done that have a ridiculous amount of views. I mean, in the thousands. And it only focuses on a few of them. And, for the forums, one of them that really comes to light is, the thing that I posted. Oh, my, excuse me. Oh, man, that came out of nowhere. The thing that I posted for the, hold on, now I gotta look at it. I know it's a screensaver from my Windows XP collection. Let's see, content, it's subforms, and yeah, I hate looking through things while I'm doing a video. Oh yeah, the dragondream.exe screensaver that, I only posted, hey, look, it stopped working or whatever and whatnot. And, this isn't like one of the top forums that's there posted, is the other thing, too. There's other things posted after that. But, right now with me clicking on it, it has 4,747 views. Just for that one. And then for the other ones that I have under the screensaver subtopic, where we got like 78, 70, 81, 75. So I don't know what's up with that. Because the Maze screensaver and the Rocket Clock came after those, so those are at the top that people can see faster before they see the dragondream.exe post. So there's an example there. And it's not just the forums. There's a couple of blog posts that are kind of hitting the same thing. And the weird part is I would say, oh, well, it's because, since I don't post content often, those ones that sit there on the homepage are getting most of the views for that duration. And that's not the case. Like, I got some Death Stranding videos that I've posted, and, like 2,000 views. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And I know you're probably thinking to yourself, like, Lazz, why the hell are you complaining about traffic going on your website? Like, you got a website, guy. Come on, what the fuck's wrong with you? And it's not necessarily the views or anything. And it's like I said, too. Could be bots. Whatever. It's how the internet is or whatever, whatnot. But it's just weird that there's certain ones that are really getting looked at often. So, I know I kind of drifted there. Because it goes back to the forums. So, created the forums because, I thought maybe I could get some engagement for the stuff that I post and whatnot. And I don't get it. I don't get any of that, which, the big reason why for that, too, is you have to have an account. You have to have an account in order to gauge on the forums, which is whatever. And, and even for the stuff that I post, it's not like I'm a programmer or anything like that. And, it's basic stuff that I'm posting, where I'm pretty sure my site alone doesn't need to have the answers for what you're looking for. It would make sense because it's a one-stop shop, in my opinion, if you do that. But I mean, even for the forums, for the Dragon Network site content, so all the stuff that I had when I was in Dragon Networks, um, you know, even I put a form rule there indicating like, hey, look, you can ask, but don't 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 go into details with your questions and stuff, unless if there's other users on the site that want to help you with whatever. So if it gets into shit, I'm trying to think of something or whatever. So let's say let's say you get the like like the PDF Exchange viewer or whatever, and then you want to ask, oh well, I want to do, I want to be able to do scanning, and then when I do scanning, I want to be able to convert it to this file, and then have a conversion factor of here. So hey, should I use JPEG 2000 or should I use zip compression when I'm trying to do when I'm trying to optimize my scans or something? And I'm just throwing not too arbitrary of a asking, but that could be something somebody asks. And look, my whole thing is if I was still doing PC support, I would have zero issues with that. But I am long retired from doing that. So, the forums are there like, hey, I want basic questions. I want basic questions. If I actually had users here that would engage with other people and whatnot for those complicated questions, I wouldn't mind that. But I don't have a user base here. I only have one other user here. And even he doesn't come to the site often, neither. And I talk to him often. So that's kind of the reason why I want to get rid of the forums. They've only been around for as long as only because I got my walk down furry lane. So my WDFL that I do, I put it there because you can set up permissions and groups and things. So if you have any random passerbys, they don't even know it exists. The only way how they would know they exist is if they browse the site and they can see me talking about such things and whatnot is like the only time. And that's really the only thing that's been keeping that alive. But once again, publicly nobody can see it. If you have an account and you happen to be in the friends group, then you can see it. So, me and the other user, we're the only people that can see it, and even he's not really interested in seeing the walk down furry lane segments, even though I told him, hey, if that interests you or whatever. But anyways, so I've only discovered recently that since the blogging functionality of the old site didn't really work properly, I thought, okay, well, anything for the blogs just gets posted publicly and that's it. But the truth of the matter is now, since I got a new server and reinstalled the website and did all that, there's a bit more functionality for blogs that I didn't know about, where technically I can do the walk down furry lane segments in a blog instead of a forum, which kind of makes sense, to be honest, because once again, forums are meant for engagement. And even for the walk down furry lane, even if I had a following, I wouldn't expect people to engage, honestly, to continue with the threads and stuff like that. So that's kind of why the forums are on the chopping block too. And it's like I said, like, look, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe, maybe that's not how forums actually work or something. But in my view, that's how I think they should work. So, and then of course the last thing is YouTube. I might actually make all my content publicly available, where, if there's a video or whatever, you can actually go go to YouTube and view everything and whatnot. And I'm pretty sure I might have said this before, but with everything I've posted to YouTube, which doesn't have any of the walk down furry lane stuff because that's NSFW. I only had one thing that was blocked that I couldn't post, and it's because it just had so much copyrighted content in it. And YouTube's not that bad of a platform to use. It's something that I wanted to use. If you remember at the end of December during the updates and everything and whatnot, but the site just couldn't really take the YouTube videos and whatnot and put it in a viewable window. Well, not a viewable window, but an actual media player, a media player that you can play on the website, kind of like with all my other videos. It just wouldn't do that. And don't get me wrong, kind of messing around with the site and stuff, I did see that there is a YouTube video add-in button, but then that's me using the old text editing system. And don't get me wrong, like the old system works great. It's just the new system's better because I can do better. I can do more formatting. I can add tables, kind of like how I do for my Death Stranding progress reports and things like that. And with what comes with this CSM, you can't do a lot of the stuff that I've been posting as well. And also for that YouTube add-in, it's only for YouTube, so I can't add other videos in a media player. This one will let me do that. So, because, initially I wanted YouTube to be the primary platform, but, and I still wouldn't mind that, but after dealing with one thing getting blocked, well, if that's my primary platform, well, you just would never see it there. Which, you would notice if you go through the playlists and stuff, it would just skip over a video and it's like, wait, what the fuck's going on? And, yeah, because it's only posted to my site because, too much copyrighted shit. So, like I stated, I'm thinking about making all those posts public, to try to get foot traffic and just kind of get noticed, but everybody knows how complicated I am. It's like I wouldn't mind getting noticed, but it's like I don't want the 15 minutes of fame that comes with it. It's hey, cool, or views or whatever, but I don't care about monetization and all this all this other crap. It's too much work. I just want to enjoy life, and this is one of the few things that's part of my life enjoyment that I'm sharing out there, in the open. So, that's why, that's why I have it the way how I have it. It's there. It's not like I'm not doing it. I am doing it. It's just I'm non-existent, quote unquote. So, yeah, site updates and whatnot. One thing I didn't put in here that I kind of did yesterday, to be honest, because I was getting everything all together for, purchasing, Killing Floor and Killing Floor 2 and stuff. So, I really haven't looked at my Steam profile in a long time and just seen how dated it was and did a whole bunch of stuff. And, my site, for the longest time, has always had a plugin for, if you have a Steam account, you can include a link or a name or something, and I just could never figure it out, and it just would never work. And I fixed that now. So so now my Steam profile is also on my profile page here on the site that you can check out, and if you want to hit me up for games or whatever. But it's like I said too, kind of. I hate it when I do that. I hate to break character here, even if I was in character. I hate when I go ums. I hate pauses. I hate that. But when you just do this without a script, what do you think's going to happen anyway? But anyways, like I said, I've always had a Steam account for the longest time. I'm just never really on there. If you want to hit me up on Steam, I don't have a problem with it. Obviously, I got to know who the hell you are. So just don't send me random friend requests and things like that. I don't accept them. Friend is somebody who I know, not a random Joe Blow. That's on my account. It's somebody I would like to interact with, and maybe possibly play games down the road and whatnot. Which I know I say that now, but if you looked at my Xbox profile, my friends list really needs to get cleaned up because it's only been, I'd say maybe 2019 when, I guess I've matured enough to say, a friends list should be an actual friends list and not just a bunch of fucking random people that's, my quick access person list that I don't even really quick access to. That's my point. So that's why it just doesn't make any sense to me. So, keep that in mind for any of my platforms and whatnot too. Just don't send me a random friend request. I got to know who you are. It's the same thing for joining my site. Like, cool if you do. I don't care if you post things, but if you want to access the friends only content that I have in my gallery, and as of now in the forums for WDFL, like, I gotta know who you are. I'm just not going to give you access to any of that stuff. Just comes down to that. So yeah, and if you do hit me up and whatnot, like, I'm a noob in Killing Floor and Killing Floor 2. I know I've only played, I wouldn't even say 4 games in Killing Floor 2 because I did the training thing and then like three levels after that, and I only got killed once, and I have it set to normal with low waves and things like that. But man, dude, Killing Floor, whew, that's a learning curve there. I mean, I have a fun time playing that game, but when I had it set to beginner, I died a couple of times. I'm new to it. I'm not surprised. I don't beat myself up. But then I was able to beat a full wave, which I think was 3 or 4. Cool. And, yeah. And then I decided I was going to change the difficulty to normal. And let's up the waves to 7. And the furthest I've ever got was like 4. Wave 4. Once. And then everything else has been like 2. And I can't tell you how many of the first Killing Floor I played, how many games I played today, just to kind of test out the hardware and is everything going to work just fine. But, I'm new to that. If you like that game, if you don't mind having a noob on your team, I'm good with shooting games, don't get me wrong. Just the mechanics and the keyboard layout, because I've always used a controller. I'm a console guy. Have no problem with it, with using a keyboard and mouse. And I'm not going to lie, I think using a keyboard and mouse is fantastic for computer games. I've tried using a game controller before, and it kind of works, but it doesn't. It's just not as good as a keyboard and mouse for when you're playing a computer game. Got so many commands and things like that. It just makes it easier to map it to a keyboard. Okay, so enough of site updates and stuff. Let me take another sip of water here and kind of talk. I just kind of remembered. I'm supposed to say at the initial part of these videos, I guess you could say, for the Lazz Logs, if there's going to be video elements or anything. And, initially I was going to try to record some things at Killing Floor and see how it works and, you know, get some laughs from people to see how horrible I am in it. But the computer capture or the screen capture of the computer just it couldn't do it, which I'm not surprised. I don't have a graphics card, I don't have gaming RAM, I don't have a lot of things, so it was a worthwhile try and whatnot. But it kind of leads to this next thing here, that's not too game related. Let me catch myself there. So a few weeks ago, I finally finished reading a book. And, it's a very old book. I never read it. I heard it came out and whatnot. And, you can laugh at me as much as you want. It ain't going to hurt my feelings and whatnot. But, I finished reading Perfect Dark Initial Vector. And, I know, you might be thinking, wow, Lazz, you do... I won't even say you do. You've played a lot of Perfect Dark in your life, and you never got the books. You're right. I never did. So my girlfriend got this book. I guess she was shopping around on eBay or something, because it's a used book. It's a used one. And, and just decided to buy it for me, good deal or something like that. I didn't ask for details. Like, hey, here you go, got you this book. And I'm like, okay, cool. So, I was reading that book off and on at work, really work, to pass the time with doing testing and things, because, when you do asphalt testing, there's a lot of downtime. And I've been doing asphalt testing for a hot minute this year, and it's only really been the past few weeks there's been a break in that storm, but I don't know how long that break in the storm is going to be for that. But I gotta tell you, the book's good. If you want to read it, I don't want to spoil it or anything, which is pretty horrible for me to say unless you guys already know, because this book was published in 2005. So keep that in mind. That's how old this book is. It's published in 2005. We're almost knocking on 20 years with this book right now. And, it has good lore. Definitely covered, the backstory and stuff a bit better than how the games would have, which, makes sense. If you like Perfect Dark, I'm going to tell you to read it. I don't know if I'll get the other book for it, which I think is Second Strike. I don't know. Can't remember. I don't know if I'll get that or not, or, maybe I'll get that as a birthday or a Christmas gift or something. And time permitting, because I can tell you, like, if I'm at home, the last thing I want to do is read a book. And I know that's horrible to say, because, reading a book, it's your time, and you can get immersed and everything. And trust me, I totally got immersed in the book and stuff. But, when I get home, I want to play video games or get on the computer or do nothing, especially after working, or, if it's the weekend. Nothing wrong with that, but, reading is work. I guess you could say reading is work, even though technically we do it all the time. With especially with how online everything is as well. Still got to do a lot of reading. Not everything's in a nice, easy video format with directions and whatnot. I don't know if we'll ever get there one day, but I know if we try hard enough as a human race, I wouldn't doubt we will. So book's good. I guess I just never bothered getting it. Just because of how Perfect Dark Zero was as a game, because it's a prequel. It's a continuation. Well, this book, Initial Vector, is a continuation after Perfect Dark Zero. And look, Perfect Dark Zero as a game was great. And I guess this is where the media thing comes into play. I probably would have had videos of the game playing and pictures of the book and things like this. But, I mean, look, you guys got the internet. Hell, you guys probably aren't even freaking interested in this. So that, that's the whole reason why I'm not even going to bother with any of this for the video. I'm just going to talk about it. I don't think I ever got any of the books because, for one, I was young at the time. And, kids hate reading. And I was a kid that hated reading. Because I wanted to play video games. And, the thing is that, in my opinion, when it comes to the prequel to the sequel, and it's not too much of the graphical changes and things like that. I know that's how that is. I mean, look at fucking Star Wars. You got episodes, 4 through 6 that were done in the 70s. And then everything else, 1 through 3, because that totally makes sense. 1 through 3 came out, during the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and, computer graphics and things. Yeah, sure, the movie made it look better and whatnot. And, that doesn't bother me too much when it comes to that. I get it. Whether if you're flexing your abilities for the money and the technology and whatever that you have, where if you're doing that or if it's like, Mr. George Lucas, well, this was how my vision was supposed to be, through the 1 through 3, and it's like, well, that's cool, but why did you start with 4 through 6? That's something that still has me baffled, so baffled. But anyways, the whole thing is if you ever played the original Perfect Dark and whatnot, Joanna Dark's like a dark-haired, 23-year-old girl, female, lady. Well, for her age, I guess lady or girl or, I don't know. Bash me if you want for, inappropriately labeling this however you want. And she's got her quips and things like that. And, the mission and the game, how everything changes. And then, then you got the prequel. And don't get me wrong, man. For how off the wall the game got, like, if you really look at the story and play the game, and it's like, yeah, and it's actually, the corporation war is, being controlled by aliens and things and whatnot. It's like, that's some pretty off the wall shit and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, the creators and people, they were all into the conspiracy theories, and I don't even want to get into it. You can watch so many different videos on YouTube to learn about the lore and everything in Perfect Dark. But, so you have all that and whatnot, but I think I like the first game because it was charming. The whole thing was charming. And then you get Perfect Dark Zero, and the character design's completely different. The other thing I forgot to mention was, Joanna had a British accent, in the first game. And here we are with the prequel. And, just to kind of cover the prequel here, she's like 20. So this is like 3 years into the past, from when the game is, because I think it was like 2023, and the game was around 2020. That was the year, 2020. We all know how much we like 2020. The year that doesn't exist for us. Thanks, pandemic. So, it's set around that time, and cool, whatever. But so she's 20. She's got red hair, and some tattoos. And, the thing is, in the game, Joanna does a lot of wardrobe changes and shit in the game, and it's like she's got like a tattoo on her upper arm. Okay, well, the first game didn't, so I guess she had the tattoo removed for some reason. I feel like they would have included that. It was just those weird continuity issues that just didn't make sense. And, don't get me wrong, the book and the story and the lore in the book is great. And Joanna has the same kind of quippy attitude that she had in the Perfect Dark Zero and in the other games. So, that's pretty consistent. But it's like, what the hell happened? Like how are you an American that has no British accent, and then 3 years later, now you have a British-esque accent? Just doesn't make sense to me. And, it's just that continuity error that occurred. But, I can tell you, if you check out any of the Perfect Dark videos and things like that, when they came out with Perfect Dark, when Rare came out with the first Perfect Dark, it was a small team, and the staff got involved, and, it was just, and they all have British accents and shit. So, of course, most of the actors have that in the first game, or voice actors in the first game. And, here's a second one that's a prequel, and, coming out on the Xbox 360 with new technology and hardware that game consoles have never done before and whatnot. And that's cool and great. That's cool and great, but it's like you lost that whole continuity issue there, because now we hired voice actors and this and that, and this person is great for Joanna, even though that has nothing to do with what the future turns to be. But I guess you can leave it up to your own imagination. The books are 3 years before. What's not saying that Daniel Carrington sent her to like a British reform school or something, or she just got used to living in London and then just developed the accent as time goes on, which can happen, but usually that happens if you're a little kid. And like Joanna's 20, I feel like her ways are kind of set the way that they are, But hey, whatever. I know that kind of dragged on way longer than it needed to, but overall, man, it's a great book. If you like the Perfect Dark lore, I would recommend it to anybody if they haven't read it yet. And and it's like I said, the Second Strike, which I think is the second book that comes after that, for the storyline and stuff. I don't have it, so I don't know if I'll get it or something, but it definitely has my interest piqued enough to get it. All right, so that was the main meat and potatoes of the Lazz Log and whatnot, and kind of like what I started off with the video with here, and not iSCSI, but like, look, not a lot happens in my life. My life's pretty boring. I mean, as you can see with the video, I'm talking about these things here in great length and detail, and for whatever that comes into my mind, I'm just spouting it out like garbage, I guess. Whatever. Sorry, need some more water after all that garbage spewing. So I just kind of want to try to talk about life updates. It's like, I mean, I wish I could do these more often. And it's not the fact that I'm so busy I don't have time to do it. It's just I never have anything to talk about. Nothing engaging. So, it's been a while, and I think I got a few things to talk about. So, I'll start with the fun one, work. Work has been getting busier for me and whatnot. I'm still maintaining a pretty decent work-life lifestyle. Obviously, I'm pretty sure, as you can tell from the content that I'm posting and whatnot. I will say a few times it has been a bit concerning because, I'm back to hourly again. So if I'm not working, then I'm not making money. It just, it's a no-brainer. And, not that I'm struggling or anything like that for what's going on, but I'm definitely leaning more towards having a life more than work, which there's nothing wrong with that because your mental psyche feels a lot fucking better, let me tell you. But you ain't making money. And, inflation and everything keeps going up. So, um, you know, there's still a few other things that I can do and whatnot. Obviously, the obvious glaring issue is, well, I could work more hours, but really, I can make some financial adjustments. And I know that's a scary word for everybody, but when I say financial adjustments, that's never been scary for me and whatnot. I mean, I don't live the life of luxury or anything like that, nor do I care to, as well, or strive to. I just want to live my life as best as I can, and I don't splurge too often. I go out to eat often, but even I don't spend a lot of money for that. But like I can make some financial adjustments and stuff. Because I really would like to keep this lifestyle that I have and whatnot. And and look, man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I get paid $35 an hour to $15 an hour. Um, you know, Look, you base it on what you work. Especially when you're paid by the hour. If you're salary like how I was before, well, you get the same amount of money all the time, and you can always work around that. And that's the thing is, I don't have that anymore. But that's also the downside if you're on salary is you're likely in a position that you have major responsibilities that you have to handle, regardless of when and where. So I still like my decision for what I've done and whatnot. That's probably really the only pressing thing. It being busy at work or it starting to get busy at work. I mean, it's just this isn't my first rodeo. And even with that, I'm not even like going into work early and whatnot. I wanted to try to get back into the groove of trying to get there at 9 a.m. But yeah, that's been falling flat too. So I still don't get into like late morning to early afternoon. So 11 a.m. to like noon, and I mean, when you only work from like noon to 8 p.m., well, that's 8 hours, and that's all you're gonna get. And it's like I said, it's just trying to figure out that work-life balance thing too, because not that I don't mind going in early, but it's like every time I go in early, I'm always working later than I have to. You know, I try to get done with work around the 8 o'clock hour for the most part, and it it's like something always happens where I'm working past 8 p.m. And look, I don't mind that or whatever because I get paid by the hour, but um, you know, the whole day's shot for anything that I would want to do for myself is the whole thing there. And and look, a little bit of personal background too, because I don't think I've ever said this before. Um, about my working habits from before to how they are now. Um, Besides being a workaholic at heart, and I wouldn't say too much of a completionist, but I sure do like to finish whatever I start when I'm there. Because there's always a whole bunch of different little projects and testing and things like that can always get done. Um, if I go back to how I used to do things, the checks would look great, and the financial stress would be gone, and not that I was dealing with too much other stress from work or personal life from all the hours that I work, but the way how it was then is my weekends were my only time to get anything I needed done for myself. So if I needed groceries, it was the weekend. That was the only time I had to do it, was the weekend. So I had 2 days tops to get whatever I needed done. And obviously, if you have appointments and stuff, well, not a lot of places do things on the weekend. So, so then it's trying to plan it out during the middle of the week at some time where, it's busy and things are complicated and things don't work out and whatnot, where it's like, I don't want to get back into that lifestyle. I hate trying to cram everything I would want to do during the weekend, because then that doesn't really give me a lot of time to even relax. So I guess this is why I'm being very apprehensive about the whole, I don't want to say financial standpoint, but yeah, it's kind of pretty much the financial standpoint. I work hours to make money. I do love the job. I love what I do and whatnot. It's not a big deal for me. But, we don't, at the end of it all, we all work because we want to make a living. We have a lifestyle we want to achieve for ourselves. And unfortunately, here in the United States of America, you need money to do it. And, you can work for it. There's a lot of different ways you can get money, don't get me wrong, but usually you got to work for it somehow. So, yeah. Yeah, so, that's kind of how it's been going for work. Kind of covers a little bit of the personal stuff too, right there at the same time, because, it's like I said, I don't really have a life, I do have a life, but I guess I just don't have anything interesting enough to bring forth out to the vast ocean of the interwebs. I guess is what I'm really getting at, So obviously I'm still doing game captures and playing Death Stranding and things like that. I've been playing a lot of Death Stranding lately. Just no game captures happening because things are getting busy, as well as I actually met my video quota in April. I haven't met nothing of a video quota so far this month in May, and it's Mother's Day, so it's the 12th, so we're almost halfway through the month. Yeah, so I know I'm planning on trying to do a game capture, but it's already late as it is, so I don't know if I'm really going to follow through with that or not. I definitely wanted to get a Lazz Log out because I wanted to do it Friday, but I had to work Saturday. Had a side job I had to do, so had to go to bed at a decent time and do all that other stuff and be a pouty dragon about it the whole time, because all I wanted to do was do this Lazz Log and other things. But it kind of worked out too at the same time, because I didn't even really know what I was going to talk about. I had some ideas, but it was it's background here. It was kind of almost on the chopping block, where I was either going to do an art stream or another walk down furry lane. Just like I said, not that I don't have a life, I guess. It's just I don't think there's anything too interesting to talk about and whatnot. So yeah, I think that about wraps up this edition of Lazz Log. It's kind of a long one, but nothing wrong with that, because I haven't done one of these in a while too. And, as you've seen, I had a lot of things to talk about. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, or the audio file, I guess, wherever that you're looking. I know this is going to be more of an audio file on the website, but obviously if you're browsing YouTube or whatever, then, it's a video format. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. and until next time, later.